channel. My name is Lindsay. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a long time since I've filmed anything or posted anything, but this is currently December right now. I'm in front of my Christmas tree. I have my Christmas sweater on. My husband's still sleeping. And I'm also going to be talking about wrapping up the books I read this year. I do have one more book that I'm planning on reading before the year is over. That is the sequel to Divine Rivals, but it obviously comes out on the 26th, and today is currently the 20th. So I'm filming this earlier just to get it completed, but I might sneak on here and add on that my rating or ranking for the next book in the Divine Rivals duology, which I realized I forgot something. Oh yeah, I realized I forgot my reading journal. So in this video, I'm actually going to be recapping what I've read this year and completing my book bracket for 2023. So at the beginning of the year, I decided I want to try the book bracket. Essentially, that's what you're reading the books you read in the month, they're going head to head, and you're deciding which is your favorite book of the month. And then between the 6 months, first half of the year and the second half, you decide what 3 books you would want to go head to head, and then sorry, that's my coffee. You decide, from there you decide that which book is the best out of those 3, and then they're gonna go head to head at the end of the year to decide which one is your favorite book of the year. But before I go into that, I want to actually talk a little bit about my reading stats for the year. So far at the point of filming this, I've read 65 books, which that alone is such a great and amazing accomplishment for me, because for the last few years, I've really struggled with reading and picking up a book. So the fact that I read 65 books is just amazing to me. So for this year so far, I've read, like I said, 65 books. I've read 17,109 pages, which is a lot. The shortest book I read this year was 44 pages, and that was The Lord Sorcerer by Olivia Atwater. And the longest book I read was 502 pages, and that was Gilded by Marissa Meyer, which is a book I believe I started actually last year, but I finished it this year. Average book length in 2023 was 263 pages. Most shelved book, The Cruel Prince. That's a lot of people have shelved that. And least shelved was Cruel Prince is by Holly Black. And least shelved is Pride, Prejudice, and Peril. Excuse me. By Olivia Atwater. Sorry, by Katie Oliver. Sorry, Katie Oliver. Average rating for the year is 4.5. Highest rated on Goodreads was Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Search. And my first read of the year, Half a Soul. Books I read. We'll go through all these together. And the last review of the year was Divine Rivals. So I met my reading goal, which I'm very happy about. Actually go through a few more things in my notebook. So I actually decided to do a few challenges. So I did the book of the year book bracket, and then I tried the A to Z challenge. Here's my journal spread for both of those. This one I didn't, let's see, I missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I missed 6 letters, which is actually not too bad. Some of these letters are kind of hard to find books with the title. But essentially, you're reading books throughout the... Hey, editing Lindsay here. I just realized as I was
editing this video that you can hear my dog snoring in the background. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Anyways, hope you're enjoying the video.
And whatever book you read, if it coincides with the title, the letter of the alphabet, you put that in that easy challenge. I think that was pretty much the whole thing I did. Some goals I had. My first goal was read 34 books, which I've surpassed that. Finish Way of Kings, of course. I didn't finish it. I don't think I even really read it at all this year. Read 10 minutes each day, failed with that. Keep track of reading. I did do that one, so let's actually get my pen and fill that in. Because I kept track of all the books I read this year. Start to annotate. I didn't do that. Finished 23 books in 2023. That was another challenge I made for myself. Yeah, I failed at that. Read from my Kindle, and I did read from my Kindle. Not as much as I would have liked to, but I did read from it. Complete A to Z challenge. Didn't do that. Join a book club. Did not join a book club. Participate in readathons. Again, every year I'm like, I want to participate in readathons. Never do. Finish series, duologies. This one, I don't think I would say I passed it, because I feel like I met that. I don't think I would say I met that goal, because I know there's still so many series and duologies that I read. So for duologies, I finished one duology, which is the Crown of Coral and Pearl duology. And for series, I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I finished the Sheets series. This kind of gives you a little glimpse at what my books I read are. Read from my shelves, which is another thing I didn't really do very effectively. And the last one was listen to more audiobooks, which I didn't really listen to very many this year. Anyways, so that's my reading journal. I'm going to get now into the books that I read this year. So, my reading challenge. I went through these last night, and some of them I don't really think that I didn't put dates when I read them, so I don't know if they're going to be completely accurate, but I'm going to try my best to actually remember when I read these. I have some books that I own. I own some of the books. There are a few that I got rid of, and a lot of these books, and some I read on my Kindle, and a lot of these books actually got from the library. So starting off of the year, my first book I read was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. That one, I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really good, real well written. Some of these I'm not going to remember exactly what happened because it was so long ago, but I just remember really enjoying that one a lot. And I liked the main character, I liked the love interest and the mystery that was in it. I liked that it was a clean historical Regency novel, which with Faye, which didn't really happen. I know there's so many. I prefer clean fiction, which doesn't have like any smut or anything in it. But yeah, I know there's like the popular series of like Regency romances that tend to have a lot more inappropriate content, at least to me, I feel. But this one I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it. I like that aspect. I like that it was still like such a great romance, but they didn't have to add all of that other stuff into it to really show that the characters loved each other and cared for one another. So that was the first book I read this year. So it was a good start to the reading year. The second book, which was actually a novella, which is in the Regency fairy tales, was The Lord Sorcerer, and that was also, again, by Olivia Atwater. That one was good. It wasn't as enjoyable as Half a Soul, but it was just like a background story to The Lord Sorcerer, which is our main character, our main love interest of the story. So it was interesting to hear more about who he was and like what happened to him in the war, but it wasn't like, you know, it was enjoyable. It wasn't like one of my favorite books I read. The next book that I read, which is one that I own on Kindle, is Crown of Coral and Pearl by Ruth Ford. I'm going to look at my phone a lot in this video. That one I thought was good. I don't remember exactly what happened in it. I did enjoy it. I think I gave it like 4 stars or something like that. But yeah, I did enjoy that one. That one had a really cool like world like premise, like the different kingdoms and the water kingdom, which I know that's not what it's called, but I thought that was a really interesting part of the story. Then I started getting into more graphic novels. This year was my graphic novel year. I read so many graphic novels. And I honestly think that's why I had read so many books, is because I read a lot of graphic novels, which are a lot easier for me to read and get through. I guess I read the first one of the Amulet series. So I read the Amulet series this year, which still waiting for the last book. I think it's coming out next year, which I'm really excited about. But so I read, I thought I read the first one, but maybe I didn't. I'm pretty sure I did. That means I read more than 65 books. Anyways. So if I did read the first one this year, I read Amulet, which is the first book in the Amulet series. I read The Stonekeeper's Curse, The Cloud Searchers, The Last Council. Then after The Last Council, I read the second of the Crown of Coral and Pearl duology, Kingdom of Sea and Stone. That one I think I liked actually more than the first one. This one, actually, in general, the duology was really enjoyable. I liked it a lot. But I don't know. I just thought it was a good duology. Sadly, I can't remember what happened in it. I have like a really bad memory, but I did really enjoy it. Then I read Firelight, which is the 7th Amulet graphic novel. I read Prince of the Elves, which is Amulet. Oh wait, it's all mixed up. So I read Amulet, Prince of the Elves, which is Amulet 5. I read Escape from Lucian, which is Amulet 6. I read Firelight, which is Amulet 7. And then I read Supernova, which is Amulet number 8. So I read a lot of Amulet in January. Then I read The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This one is such a hyped book, and it's been out for so long, and I never really wanted to read it, but I was like, I think I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to see how I feel about it. And I did enjoy this one. I decided that most likely I won't continue the series, but I did think it was good. I enjoyed it. Of course, I don't remember again what happened, but I did like it. I did enjoy it. And then the last book I read in January was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And so this is the year that I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. The first one, I thought it was good. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I hoped I would, but I did like it. So, again, my book. From all the books that I read in the beginning, in January, my favorite book of January was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I just really enjoyed that one. It was a good start to the reading year, and I'm glad that I finally read it. I really enjoyed it. The next book, so we're in February. Next book I read, which I do still own, was Unseelie by Ivelisse Hausman, which I know the second one is a duology is coming on the new year, which I will continue this one. This one I thought was good. Let's see how many stars I gave it. I gave it 4 stars, which is not which is a pretty good rating. This one I kind of feel like I kind of hyped it up in my head more than and it was not, I kind of hyped it up more in my head. I was really excited for it, but it actually didn't really fulfill that hype that I had. I mean, I still liked it, like I said, but it just wasn't as good. I should not have had I should not have given it such high expectations. Not saying that that's wrong or shouldn't give books high expectations. Well, in some ways maybe shouldn't, because then it's more likely you might get disappointed. But anyways, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I liked our main characters. I liked the sister dynamic. I liked that it had autistic representation, which you don't really see a lot in books. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And it did leave on like an ending where I was like, oh, I really want to read the second one. Hopefully if there's something to read. But of course, when I actually read this, there was nothing announced for a second one. So I was like, oh. But now that I know that the second one's coming out, I'm actually really excited to continue this duology. So, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Next book I read, which I think this is right, was Pride, Prejudice, and Peril by Katie Oliver. This is a really cute, like, Jane Austen murder mystery type series. I have the second one I started this year, but I didn't finish. But this one I really liked it. It's a Jane Austen Tea Society mystery. This one I thought was really cute. It had a pretty good mystery to it. I actually started it, but then kind of put it down. And my mom finished it in like one day. So I was like, I need to finish this book. So I did. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. It was a good read. Next book I read was Small Favors. This is one that I actually got rid of. But this one I will say, though, I had started this a couple years ago when it first came out. And I read to like most of it. But then I kind of put it down. And then the last few hundred pages I actually just skimmed through. So this one, I liked it, but it wasn't one that I really enjoyed as much as I hoped I would. But it was pretty good. I love Erin A. Craig's writing, though. She's a good writer. The next one I read. Okay, so this is when it gets kind of spotty. I'm pretty sure this is how it went. So it would have read. So that was February. So in February, my top book was Pride, Prejudice, and Peril. Now we're moving on to March. So March, I actually read or continued. So this is the only thing I really read in my 23 books in 2023. I read the fifth of The Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe. This is just like a kind of dark manga series about a little girl who's living out in the outside world that's cursed, and what happens is that there's the humans in the outside turn into these like monsters, and then there's this little girl who's been taken care of by an individual named Teacher. She calls Teacher. This one was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Then I read a lot more manga. So I read the manga Mighty Jack by Ben Hatke. This was a cute one. It's just about Jack and his sister, and I don't know, all this other stuff happened in it. Of course, again, I don't remember exactly what happened. Then I read Girl from the Other Side, Volume 6, which just continues the story. Again, yeah, this is the one that, no, it's not. Anyways, yeah, so I read this one. Then I read Castle in the Stars, The Space Race of 1869 by Alex Alice. This one is part of the Castle in the Stars series. This is like a graphic novel series and book, and I actually really like this one a lot. I thought like the premise was really cool in the story, and I like the characters in it. Then I read The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 7. So I think this is the book that kind of starts taking a dark turn. even more so than it already is dark. But I did enjoy this one. I thought it was pretty good. I really like Teacher a lot as a character, and his love for Shiva. They just have a really great relationship, and yeah, I enjoy this manga series. It's pretty good. Then I read Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. I'm sure, sorry, I said that wrong. This one I really liked, actually. I liked because it if I remember correctly, it brings in like Mexican folklore, I think, but I could be wrong. I think it does. Anyways, I gave this one 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I love it. Was again a sister story, and it involved ghosts. I'm sorry, this is not giving. I'm not giving much detail. Anyways, then I read Afar by Layla Del Dusa. This one I thought was good. I don't know. I did give it 4 stars, but it was a book that this person review says African and Arab characters, which that's really great. I like reading books that have different cultures represented in them, and that was one that a graphic novel that I, read up had that, and I thought it was pretty. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. Then I read Apple Crush by Lucy Kinsley, and this actually was one of my favorite graphic novels of the year. I really loved the story and how it's actually a memoir, I think, if I remember correctly, and about a little girl whose mom has a boyfriend, and he has 2 daughters, and she has to learn to, like, oh no, sorry. Stepping Stones is the first one I read, which is by Lucy Kinsley. Then I read Afar, and then I read Apple Crush. So Stepping Stones is the first one in this series, and it's about a little girl who, Jen, who ends up having to become her mom's boyfriend and his girls. They have like a farm, and she ends up having to move to the farm, and it's rough on her. And I just like that, the story a lot. I like that, at first it was really hard for her, but then she became closer to the, her mom's boyfriend's daughters, which I really enjoyed. And Apple Crush was just kind of continuing on the story. And then I read Mapmakers and the Lost Magic by Cameron Chittock. That was pretty good. Don't really have much to say about that one. I reread Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. This one is one of my favorite graphic novels. I love the friends to lovers. I don't know if I call it lovers, but working in a pumpkin patch every year, and just when they're gonna be going off to school, it's like, I like that he's trying to speak to his crush that he's had for like years, and the whole time, he's not to ruin it for anyone. Anyways. But I thought it was good. I enjoyed my reread. Then I read Another Kind by Trevor Bram. This one, I thought, I was kind of like, almost kind of reminded me of like X-Men and like these kids that have special powers. This one I thought was pretty good. There was something in the story though that kind of took me out of it, that was kind of just random, which I didn't really like about it. But other than that, I thought it was a cute one. Then I read Lightfall, the Girl and the Galdurian, Lightfall #1 by Tim Probert. This is a cute one. Wow, I read a lot of graphic novels. I read Wing Bear by Marjorie M. Liu. I then read Lightfall, Shadow of the Bird, which is Lightfall #2 by Tim Probert. I read Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Search Omnibus. I read then My Aunt is a Monster by Raymina Yi. This one I really thought was really cute. I like that, the little girl loses her parents, but then she ends up, reconnecting or connecting with her aunt that also has is a monster. Then I read The Long Way Down, the graphic novel by Jason Reynolds. This one is hard. I don't really know if I would necessarily give it a rating. I did give it 5 stars because I just felt like the story was really impactful, and I definitely think I know that there's a version of it that's the novel version, but this one was the graphic novel, and I'm glad I read the graphic novel. I think it helped with like having pictures and stuff, but it was just really powerful. It's a very powerful story, and I highly recommend reading it if you ever get the chance to. Then I read one of my absolute favorite graphic novels. This was Our Pact by Ryan Andrews. This one was just such an amazing story. I can't like talk about it enough how great it was. I loved the art style, I loved the colors that was used. I loved like the story and the friendship that blossoms in this, and just everything about this graphic novel is the greatest. I actually ended up getting a copy of it because I just loved it so much. Such a good book. This month I read so much. Okay, so then I read Isla to Island by Alexis Castellanos. This one was really interesting because it's a graphic novel, but it doesn't have any words and it's just pictures. And I really liked how in the story the colors changed throughout. That was really cool. It's just about a little girl who's sent to, I think, America to live with, she's from Cuba and she's sent to the United States. And it's just such like, it's a heartbreaking story because she's sent away from her parents and she has to live with people she doesn't know and in a country she doesn't really know and deal with language that she doesn't know. And it's just really kind of opens your eyes to, you know, how young immigrant children must feel when they come to a place where, you know, everything is so foreign to them and they have to try to adapt to this new environment. And it was such a beautiful story, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I thought it was really good. It was really interesting too, not having any words. I read that. Then I read Plu of the Woods by Mai K. I think it's Wen. How do you say it? This one was cute. I gave it 3 stars. Then I read the first book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This one was such a wild ride. I really enjoyed it. I really liked Pip, their main character. I liked the relationship between her and I forget his name, but the brother of the boy who was accused of killing that girl, his girlfriend. This one's cute. I'm really excited for the show that they're making on BDC. I'm not sure though if it's going to be mature. Most likely it will be mature, which is unfortunate. So I probably won't watch it, but I did enjoy this one. This one did have a little too much language for me. I'm not really a fan of foul language, but it was, you know, it was good. I liked it. Then I read Long Distance by Whitney Gardner. This one was cute. It was good. And I read The Aquanaut by a graphic novel by Dan Santot. I like this one. I like the sea creatures who are walking around in a scuba diving suit. That was really cool. It was cute. I think that's everything I read in March. I read a lot of graphic novels in March. I got so many from the library and I just kept reading and reading, which in retrospect is probably not the best way to read something because then everything just kind of blurs together. But it was a big reading month for me. But anyway, so the winner for this month, which shouldn't be a surprise, was Our Pact by Ryan Andrews. I just love this one so much. Okay, our next month, April. started off reading another graphic novel, Treasure in the Lake by Jason Pament. This one I really actually liked because it had like a twist at the end that I was not expecting, and I really enjoyed that twist. I then read Realm of the Blue Mist, the Rima Chronicles by Amy Kim Kibushi. This one was cute. It had like a, it was like portals. She went through a portal. Yeah. Actually, I think this might be the one that is written by the same people that wrote, or someone that's connected to the Amulet series, because I was missing the Amulet series, and I saw that this was something that they had created. So I read it, and I did like it. That was good. I then read The Awakening Storm City of Dragons #1 by Jamal Yogis. It's like a cute dragon in it. I read Hidden, A Child's Story of the Holocaust by Lo Doviller. I'm sure I said that wrong. This one was one that was really hard-hitting. It was very emotional because it was about a little girl's view or what happened to her during the Holocaust, and it was actually told via the grandmother who had experienced what happened, and she was telling the story to her grandchildren, which she hadn't shared at all. So it was really heart-wrenching. It was really, yeah, it's definitely a hard moment in history for a lot of people, and you can really see, like, you know, through this story how hard it must have been, especially for anyone, but especially for little kids. It'd be hard to understand. Yeah. Anyways, it was good. Then I read Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. This is one that I had wanted to read for a really long time. When I heard about it, I thought it was cute. This one was really cute. I did like it. I actually preferred it more than Long Distance, which is the other one I read by this author. And I just loved, like, the character, though he was kind of self-centered. But it was a good story. Then I read Tales from the Outer Suburbia by Sean Tan. This was one that I actually got from the library, and I thought it was going to be something else, but it was something different than I thought it would be. And I almost didn't read it, but then I just decided to read it anyways. And I mean, it was good. It wasn't like my favorite book, but I did have a good time reading it. Then I read Shuna's Journey by Hayao Miyazaki. This is a graphic novel by the creator, you know, the creative mind behind Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, how do you say that name. This one was good. I thought it was okay. Then I read Be Prepared by Vera Brosgol, and this one I actually really liked. It was so cute. The coloring scheme is so interesting. It's like green and white and black. This one I really liked it a lot. I thought it was really cute, and I felt, you know, she just wanted to go to a camp, and she ended up going to well, she's Russian. Anyways, but it was cute, and I enjoyed it enough to actually buy a copy of it for myself. But I really liked this. It was good. Then I read Drama by Raina Telgemeier. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly. This one kind of was another one where I was expecting one thing and got something else. So I didn't fully enjoy it like I would have liked to, but it was cute. I mean, again, I'm also not really the demographic too, because I'm not a young person. But besides that, I mean, it was cute. So from this month of April, my favorite book was Be Prepared. Yeah, I just really loved the story. Our character has some, you know, does some things that maybe are not as a little questionable, but she learns in the end, you know, her lesson, realizes her mistakes. I just really loved her character, and I just feel so bad for her because she just wants to be like all her friends and go to a fun camp, but she ends up being sent to this other camp that her mom sends her to that is not like exactly the way she expected it to be. I definitely think she had these kind of expectations of what a camp would be like, and they didn't meet her expectations. But yeah, I thought this one was really cute. Okay, so our next month was May, and this one I started off the month reading Garlic and the Vampire by Bree Paulson and Garlic and the Witch by Bree Paulson, which was pretty cute graphic novel series. I'm not sure if there's going to be another one, but about a garlic who has to, the first one is about garlic who has to confront the vampire that moved in to the castle nearby the farm that she's from. It's cute. Then I read, I don't have a copy of it anymore, but I read The Ballad of Never After. So The Ballad of Never After, wow, the first one, it was okay, but this one, the second one, I have to say, was it was a great story. I loved just exploring the world more and seeing Evangeline kind of take in her own, become her own person. And the ending shocked me. Like, I'm sure everyone that read it shocked them. But yeah, it was pretty good. And that's all I read for May. Didn't read very much in May. But of course, the winner for that one was The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. So from those six, I have, so between Half a Soul and Pride and Prejudice and Peril, the winner was Half a Soul. Between This Was Our Pact and Be Prepared, the winner was This Was Our Pact. And then between, oh no, I'm not there yet. Sorry. Okay, not there yet. June. I forgot June. So June. Okay. June, actually, I did participate in a readathon. Sort of participated. I read, or listened to The Sister of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashares. Again, it was a reread, so it was, I still enjoyed it. I read The Dark Hills Divide, The Land of Elon by Patrick Harmon, which was a reread. Again, I read this one a long time ago, when I was a lot younger, and I definitely can tell that this was written for a younger audience because I didn't enjoy it as much as I remember enjoying it when I was younger. So yeah. And then I finally read The Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This one was actually a surprise for me because I didn't know I would like it as much as I did, and I did really enjoy it. I'm excited to continue the series. Hopefully at some point in time, maybe this next year, I'll pick up the rest of the books. But this one, I really liked it. I loved Sophie a lot. She's so sweet, and it made me cry at some parts. I just felt so bad for her, and it was just a really great story. Then I read, what else did I read next? I read, this is when it gets kind of spotty, but I'm pretty sure that I finished Gilded by Marissa Meyer. So this is the one that I started the year before in 2022 and put down because I was really angry at what was going on in the story, and I actually almost didn't finish it, but then I decided, okay, I need to just get it over with and find out what's going to happen and get it over with. It's not that bad, but yeah, so I finished Gilded. Oh man. And then I read, and I think that's all I read in June. I'm pretty sure that's all I read in June. Anyway, so I said the first two ones. So I have Half a Soul, This Was Our Pact, and then so Keeper of the Lost City was the one that won in June. And between Keeper of the Lost Cities and The Ballad of Never After, can you guess? The Ballad of Never After won. So we have our 3 for the first half of the year. So we have Half a Soul, This Was Our Pact, and Ballad of Never After, and the winner of all 3 of those. So Half a Soul was my first read of the year, and I did really like it a lot. I loved the romance. I loved the romance especially. Be Prepared, not Be Prepared, This Was Our Pact. It's like one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Again, I loved the story. I loved the characters. I loved the friendship. Just the art style, the colors that were used, and the art style, everything about that story I loved. And then the Ballad Never After, just was so good, the ending. But, so, the winner of the first half of the year is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. Yes, it is the winner of the first half of the year. It was really good. I think the main reason why it's the winner is because of that ending, that cliffhanger ending that was just blew my mind. It was really good. Yeah. Okay, so we made it through the first half of the year. Now we're in July. So in July, I started off the month reading To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Now this is actually a book I've had on my Kindle for a number of years, and I got it and I never really picked it up. And then I was trying to figure out something to read because I just finished Gilded, and I didn't really know what I wanted to read, and I was kind of struggling this month to really have a desire to read. And so I finally read, I decided to read To Kill a Kingdom, and I'm glad I did. I thought To Kill a Kingdom was a really good story. I really liked the world. I liked the characters. I liked our main character, who is a siren, and she's definitely starts off, hating humans, and becomes, ends up having, finding connection between her and the main guy in our story. And I really liked I liked it. I thought it was good. And I think that's all I read in July. So again, so the winner automatically would be To Kill a Kingdom for July. So then in August is another month that I didn't read very much. I was really reading a lot in the beginning of the year, and then in the middle of the year I kind of petered out. So I only read one book in July, and then I read one book in August, and that was The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 8. And this one was good. It's, progressing the story. I am intrigued to find out what happens in the rest of it, though. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Though I don't like that they changed the cover feel of it, which is really annoying, because this one's more papery and this one's more smooth. I don't know, just a pet peeve of mine. So again, I only read one book, so the winner for August was The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 8. Then I got to September, and September, I think again I only read one book. I think I only read one book in September. So my book in September was a reread, which was The Iron Queen, which is Iron Queen number 3 by Julie Kagawa, which is one of my favorite series of all time. And this is one of my favorite books in the series. And of course, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I love this book. I love the characters. I love Ash. I love Megan. Puck's okay. But yeah, I read that one in September. And so the winner, since I only read one book in September, was Iron Queen. Now we get into October. So in October, I think I read 2. How many books did I read? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so in October I read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, my first Riley Sager book. This one was crazy. After reading it, I was just amazed, shocked by what happened in it. If you haven't read this one, I don't know if I can necessarily recommend it to you, because it does have a lot of language in it, which again, I don't like. I don't really see the necessity of it having that much language in it. but the story itself was just mind-blowing and shocking, and I will never forget that story. It will always be with me. It was just that crazy. Then I read Light by Brenna Thummier, which is the third in the Sheets series, or trilogy, which is a graphic novel series about a girl whose family owns a laundromat, and she finds out that there are ghosts which are living in the laundromat, and they're look like little sheets. They're really cute. It was a good story. I liked, yeah, it kind of delved more into our main ghost's background story, which Wendell. It delved more into his story, which I liked finding out more about who he was and what happened to him. So for October, I read those 2 books, and the winner for that month is Lock Every Door. Okay, and then I got to November. So the first book I read in November was Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol, which is the author of Be Prepared. This one I didn't enjoy as much as Be Prepared. It was spooky because I thought I read it in October. I guess I read it in November. It was pretty spooky, which I kind of figured it would be because it is about a ghost. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. But it was good. I'm glad I read it. And then I read, I think this is what I think I read this in November. I read Out There, a graphic novel by, I know I'm gonna say this wrong. Sierra Miller, I think that's how you say it. This one I really enjoyed a lot. This is actually another graphic novel I'd like to own. I love the father-daughter dynamic. I love that it takes place in Roswell, New Mexico, which is a place I've always wanted to go to ever since watching Roswell when I was younger. But yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was really cute, really sweet story. Then I read A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. This is the third in the Curse for True Love trilogy. This one I was really hyped for. I was really excited for it to come out because, of course, The Ballad of Ever After ended on such a cliffhanger. But this one didn't actually live up as much as I hoped it would. I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the ending was, you know, kind of lackluster, but it wasn't terrible. But it definitely is not. I definitely enjoyed The Ballad of Ever After. Is my favorite in this series a lot more than this one. But I did have a good time reading it. So anyway, that's November. And so for November, the winner is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. Because even though it didn't exactly live up to the hype like I hoped it would, I still really liked it. And I'm glad that it ended. I was able to end the trilogy. Know what happens with Evangeline and Jax. So we're getting to December. And so far I've only read 1 book in December, which is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So it's hard to like put into words how much I love this book. It just had, I just love the story premise. I loved like the magic in it. I loved just the grief that was represented in it. I loved Roman. Roman is probably one of my favorite male characters in work of fiction. I love Roman so much. Roman Kit has my heart. And he's so sweet and wonderful, and I just love how he treats our main girl, which now I can't remember what her name is, which is really frustrating. Iris. I love how he views Iris and how you know, the sacrifice he makes for Iris, and just everything about the story was just so good. And I cannot wait for Ruthless Vows to come out on the 26th. And I pre-ordered the ebook. I'm going to read it. I'm just so excited. It was just such a great book. And, oh, you know, yeah. I mean, there was one part that I kind of wish wasn't in it. I just skip over. But besides that, you know, it was just such a great story. It was such a great love story. I like that there wasn't really any swearing in it, which was really great. I think there was like one swear word, which is like, yeah, but it was just so good. It's like, it's hard to even like say, like describe how good it is. But that's my last book I read. So I almost want to wait and do my December, but I honestly feel like maybe I'll just, anyways. My winner best book of December was Divine Rivals. Oh, it's just such a good book. So my second half of the year, which I actually haven't finished filling it out because I kind of want to wait. I know. Right now, as of now. Okay. So we have our winner. We have our 3 winners for the second half of the year. To Kill a Kingdom, Lock Every Door, or Between a Curse for True Love, and Divine Rivals. Divine Rivals, that's one. So Divine Rivals for those 3. So for To Kill a Kingdom, this was a surprise for me because I was not expecting how much I would like it. And I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally read it. It was a good book. Lock Every Door. I will always remember that one. That book was crazy. It surprised me. It was so good. Divine Rivals is just, yeah, I can't even describe. Like, it's just such a good book. It was just so good. It was so good. So I think the winner for this first second half of the year is gonna have to be Divine Rivals. Yes, Divine Rivals. Yeah. Divine Rivals. So that means that I got my 2 books head to head. So for our first book, we got The Ballad of Never After. Now this one, again, had the greatest cliffhanger. Would I call it the greatest, actually, or the most painful cliffhanger? But yeah, oh man. So this one, again, I enjoyed reading it. I definitely liked it better than the first one and the third one. It just had, I just liked the story more. I liked Evangeline's character growth. Oh, the ending, I'll never forget the ending. So The Ballad of Never After, of course, will always be at the top of my favorite books ever read. Then we got Divine Rivals, which is so good. I wish I could articulate how much I love that book, or like talk about it more, but I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say that I love that book, but I love that book. It was just so good. I highlighted so many quotes in that book on my Kindle, and just like, just such great moments, like between Roman and Iris, and just the greatest love story. It's just so, it was so perfect. I just love that book. That was so good. But I decide now between The Ballad of Never After and Divine Rivals. So it's kind of, I mean, I actually think it's pretty easy which book is my favorite of the year. That would have to be Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Oh my word. So that book just was so good. And as of now, it's my favorite book, but I don't know, maybe I'll even read Ruthless Vows, and that will be my favorite book of the year. But anyways, just Rebecca Ross she's just such a great writer. She creates such great, like, amazing, like, stories, and at least what I've read. I've only read 1 book of hers, but I really want to read, that kind of inspired me to read more of her work this next coming year. And that book just was so good. If you haven't read it yet, you know, you gotta pick it up. It was so good. I just loved it so much. I don't know what else to say. It was so good. But I'm glad that I finally was able to read so much this year in general. Like, my final thoughts about the year, like, I did read a lot of graphic novels. I read some books that just kind of were like, they're okay. I read some that, wow, these are really good. I really love them. I don't think I really read any that I just didn't like, that I disliked that much, you know. There were some that I didn't like as much as I hoped I would. But in general, like, I pretty much liked every single book I read. I thought every single one was good, and it was a really great reading month, and I'm very thankful that I was able to read so much. I'm hoping next year that I will read more. I put in my Goodreads goal, my plan is to have 66 books this next year. I do want to do some more videos about like some top books I would like to read, books I own, and then some reading goals for next year, some goals in general next year. But yeah, it was just such a great reading month, reading year. Why am I saying reading month? Reading year. And of course, I will always just remember Divine Rivals as one of the greatest books I've ever read. It was just so good. I just love Divine Rivals. Anyways, so thank you so much for watching. Again, you know, it's been so long since I've recorded a video. This next year I really want to do more on my YouTube channel. But yeah, thanks so much for, you know, my subscribers that I have. Thank you for sticking with me, even though I haven't really been posting that much. But yeah, not sure when this video is going to go up. If it's up before Christmas, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. If it's not, if it's open up, sorry, my video camera stopped recording. Anyways, yeah, if it's up after Christmas, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I hope you have a merry, happy New Year. Goodbye.